Good morning, Larry.
Morning. Good morning, Rabbi Prague. Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, you're on the island, Yofi.
Right. Next week, you'll have the same pleasure, God willing.
בעזרת השם, יופי. איך עברה השבת בארץ?
אותו הדבר. I mean, when we read Friday morning, איך זה יכול להיות?
זו בעיה גדולה מאוד מאוד.
Right.
So Thursday morning we started. When we looked at the Rambam, the topic was Pikuach Nefesh. The Rambam does not mention Shinui. If you are desecrating Shabbat to save someone, the Rambam doesn't mention Shinui, but by Yoledet. The Magid Mishnah told us, because by Yoledet, the language he was using was Echad Me'elef. She is definitely defined as Cholesh Yesh B'Sakana. But since the real Sakana is only Echad Me'elef, this is why the Shulchan Aruch and the Rambam mentioned only then. So when we looked, let's look at it again. If you have the go to Siman Shin Chavchet, so if you'd bet.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Morning, oh, Rani, Baruch Hashem. How are you? How was first Shabbat in you, Rani?
Very nice, beautiful. Baruch Hashem. The weather was beautiful and it was just nice opening day, as they say. Baruch Hashem. It's good.
In which shul are you praying?
I pray Shabbat evening, Friday night, in by Deal Shul, because I kind of organize a minyan there. The last minyan in the shul, 7:30 p.m. And then Shabbat morning, I go to Rabbi Joey Haber, Beit Yosef. I go to second minyan, 8:30 a.m. And then Shabbat afternoon, I go to a class with Rabbi Joey Haber, and then Manhattan I read over there as well.
Rabbi Joey Haber is really one of the young stars in the community.
Yes.
He's becoming now, he's invited everywhere.
But I think he's cutting back a little because he's opening a yeshiva. He's opening a yeshiva, full-blown yeshiva, many grades. So I think he's going to travel less. And he's involved in Keshet as well. So, Baruch Hashem should give him koach.
But you see, he's very smart in getting involved in opening a yeshiva, because the only way you can make a dent, obviously he's a very good lecturer, is to educate kids. And if you really know what education is about, which I think he is, I think he would do very well.
It's an opportunity also, because unfortunately Shariat Torah kind of fell apart, so there's a lot of parents looking for other homes to send their children. So I think he got good enrollment from the first year coming up to September. So
I mentioned to Larry a minute before you came up. On Thursday morning, we looked at the Rambam, and the Rambam mentions that if you have to desecrate Shabbat, the Rambam mentions to make it b'shinui only by Yoledet. The Magid Mishnah says the reason is because in 99% of the cases, a woman is not going to die. She is in danger. But by a regular chole, we have to do what we have to do. So be'emet, we started to look in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Shin Chavchet, Seif Yud Bet. Next week on Sunday, most likely we'll go back to either Sefer Malachim or Sefer Shmuel, but today, of course.
Then I bring the books, yeah. Good, make a reminder.
Listen to the Shulchan Aruch. כשמחללים שבת על חולה שיש בו סכנה. We mentioned already a few times, but it's important to realize we are mature adults and we have enough sechel, not the excitement of women or men who panic what is Safek Sakana? Mishtat, again, falling and breaking a leg or a hand, everyone agrees you have to be taken to the hospital. Everyone agrees that there's no immediate sakana. And everyone knows that even if you come to the hospital, you have to wait a few hours. So it's pashut. In this case, is not. I'm using it because this is a common case.
Would you say someone losing sight in an eye, would that be sakana?
Okay, so the Gemara says that he used an interesting example.
The reason I ask it because as a young child, we were in a park. I don't remember if it was Shabbat or Yom Tov. I think it might have been Yom Tov. And somehow we were throwing, as little kids, we were throwing acorns. And an acorn, normally when I throw something, it would hit you in the eye, but your eye would close. Well, my luck was the acorn penetrated into my eye. And so I'm just going back and thinking.
It's a good question. So the Gemara says that the eyesight is connected somehow to the heart, only by an eye, not by other organs. Obviously, anything in the chest is the same. We'll come back to it.
Okay. And also sometimes in deal on Shabbat, some kids are riding bikes and they get hit by a car. And it's really a challenge because But
again, what does it mean they got hit by a car?
And
if it's a question of the conscious, unconscious, if it's a question of course, he has to be taken here. No situation like this. But remember, guys, the chokhmah is to. The reason we are learning it is because the Gemara says, the Shulchan Aruch says that if a man is running to ask a rabbi, he should be reprimanded. But we are learning when it's clear, when it's not clear. The in-between is really the question always, yes?
Always.
Shulchan Aruch says adults should do it, Talmidei Chachamim should do it. What? Do what? So the example I gave you once is a very good example. An old rabbi, distinguished rabbi, really doesn't feel good. Hatzalah is coming in, and he's asking the member of Hatzalah, do you need light in the room? He says, of course. He says to his grandson, you do it. Why did he tell it to his grandson? And of course, his grandson, which was a young punk, a regular kid, with rabbi, says, Zaidi, Hatzalah is here. Hatzalah and you are exactly the same. Whatever they have to do, you can do. This is our man's teaching now.
Why would that be? If he's a katan, wouldn't you prefer?
No, he was not a katan.
He wasn't a katan. Okay.
Now here's the case. Now, remember, the rabbi doesn't feel good. Of course, Hatzalah. Now, does it make a difference if I open the light by using my elbow or my finger? It doesn't make any difference. It doesn't take a second later. Of course, he should buy machinery. I don't think he told him to do it machinery. He just wanted to teach him, yes? But in general, yes? My second son swallowed a few pills of, my older son had fever. We gave him St. Joseph aspirin, if you remember, 50 years ago. And his little brother thought that this is candy. So he took like few aspirin. There's no question that I have to know what to do. So I called the poison control. I told you. New York has a poison control center. This is before cell phones. Okay? I picked up me and my wife picked up the phone. It's the same. I dialed half of the number, she dialed half of the number, yes? Does make a difference, yes? This is called Shnayim Sha'asa'ua. And there wasn't a delay of a second, yes? Now, if I would have an...
Wait, how you explain Shnayim Sha'asa'u? What is the halacha with Shnayim Sha'asa'u?
Sha'asa'ua always reduces the Aveira from Yisur Deoraita to Yisur Derabanan.
But what about, don't what about the concept of something that's mitztarfim? Is it like if two people do something, does that change it, or
But
am
this
I confusing something?
you're not confusing, but you're mixing. I'm saying you're mixing two things, but it's not
Yes.
confusing. That the rule is that any act that you can do alone, someone comes and helps you, right? If it's Shabbat and the act is involving Chilul Shabbat, so if two are doing it together, you are reducing it from a Isur D'Oraita to a much lesser Isur. So this should be done by two, yes?
Okay.
Now, so this is exactly what me and the Bora did. According to the Shulchan Aruch, and again, I cannot say it's definitely Pikuach Nefesh. I know that something has to be done immediately. Anyway, by the way, for your knowledge, this is very interesting. The poison control told us, give him a half a cup of milk. My wife says, but he swallowed aspirin. Says, we are
Yeah.
poison control.
Aspirin's an acid, and milk is a calcium. It's a
In half
base.
a minute, 30 seconds,
Yeah,
it flew up and everything came out.
a chemical.
They knew what they were saying. But I'm just,
Well, what happened hypothetically in that case if your son was over bar mitzvah and he had just eaten a fleishik meal? And you called, would that
Oh.
how would that play into it? Just to make the case different. How does basar b'chalav, that's not a doraisa, is it?
yeah, okay. So it's an interesting, typical question. Listen carefully.
That's a
Very good,
question
very
you
good,
would
Larry.
that's a question you would ask as a
Yeah.
That's the question the
Allow
rabbi would
me
ask after knowing Larry.
no, because I'm trying to think.
No, he's 100%. He's 100%.
It's
I'll
easy.
just,
The other question was rather easy. Let's make it more difficult.
I'll just take your question to another area, then I'll come back. When the son of Rav Ovadia Yosef spoke here once, this is how we started. Listen carefully. It says you ate meat. Within an hour you forgot. Please listen carefully. And you make shakol and a dairy ice cream. And you catch yourself, hey, I'm not permitted to have it. Should you not taste the ice cream? Because you wait. See, this is, and the answer is definitely take a lick. That's it. Why?
Wow.
Why? Not doing anything is definitely making the bracha levatala. Everyone agrees that making the bracha levatala is asur. Is this form of bracha levatala min Torah, min Rabbanan, machloket? Why is it a machloket? Because if I say the name of Hashem in vain, everyone agrees it's asur min Torah, lo tisa et shem Hashem elokecha l'sha. Here I made a full-fledged bracha, Baruch Ata Hashem, she'akol niyeh b'dbaro. And I did make it an ice cream, she'akol. I shouldn't have said it. So he said, it's pashut. Why is that? The answer is, the separation between meat and milk is the Rabbanan, yes?
That's right. That's the answer.
But if you are, listen carefully now. Don't ever try it, but listen carefully. If you chew meat and a piece of cheese together, it's also with the Rabbanan. Only if they are cooked together, it's a Surah Torah.
Oh, wow.
If you, the reason why this is important is, let's say if you have a corned beef sandwich and you like to put cheese in, not to put it in the grill. Just לא תבשל גדי בחלב אמו. Why am I saying it, Larry? I'm using an example of a thug comes to me here. If you're not having cheese and milk, which I know you cannot have, I'm going to beat you up. To beat you up doesn't mean to give you meat. I will tell him, of course I will have it. Yeah, I'll show you. Taking a piece of corned beef, and taking a full square slice of cheese, They put it together.
That's a Rabbanan. Okay.
It's important very much. I'm using another example. The Jewish soldiers in the Polish army, this is before World War II, you had to eat non-kosher meat. Sometimes they force you to eat other things. All these details are very important because over there, everyone agrees if you can reduce it from the Oraita to the Rabbanan, you have to reduce it, yes? So going back to your question, if the Chole has to do it, he's making even a bracha. If a doctor tells you you have, theoretically speaking,
Oh, wow.
you have to have milk and meat together. He didn't tell me to cook a piece of beef with milk. This is exactly what I would do. I would take sandwich with corned beef. I would put a piece of cheese. Again, I have to do it for health reasons, and I would make a bracha on it. Yes.
However, if the corned beef is hot, does it matter? It's not cooking, it just melted a little?
So this is what you have to learn in Chol Shabbat.
What's cooking and what's not cooking?
What is considered cooking?
Yeah.
Which temperature makes it cooking or not? But all these details are very important because very often.
However, in the case of the ice cream you mentioned, if somebody said, I'll switch to a glass of water, it's not permissible because I didn't have the water in mind. Is that correct?
Right. So the Shulchan Aruch says, let's try not to use women or goyim. Why? There are three reasons. Reason number one is because we send the wrong message to the people around us. Reason number two, not only we send the wrong message, next time people might think, hey, we have to look for goy, yes. So this is, but the example I gave you, neither of those reasons apply. So we have to be very careful. Again, if it's an immediate sakana, someone is on the floor, don't think, do it best than you can. Everyone, Ashkenazi and Sephardi. Our case is, the man had an open heart surgery, it's a day or 2 or 3 after, we have to give him whatever he needs. But everyone understands it's not a question of a second or a minute. He has to get it. If the only way to get it is to desecrate Shabbat, openly do it.
But why then, after Brit Milah, am I correct to think that they could warm up water on Shabbat?
You asked it last Thursday, so the answer is because in the time of the Gemara, if you don't have hot water, the kid might be in danger. Today we have ways, but at that time, this was.
What would you? Today is the halacha a little different because it's not.
Today it's asur.
Asur. Okay, that's what I'm trying to. Okay.
No one is basing the kid. I mean,
right, sure.
The trick is to realize that the halacha and medicine are connected. Whatever doctors today decide that this is necessary, very necessary, or not so necessary, I can ask you about 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this was the knowledge we had. Yes? Which means the doctor's decision, right, is dictating what should be done. The doctor's decision dictates what should be done. If they say it's pikuach nefesh, so this is why the Rama says that if it's possible to do without any delay, or you should try to do it b'shinui. So again, and the examples I gave you is the sakana is not immediate. The rabbi doesn't feel it. Hatzalah is in the room. Hatzalah needs light. Of course you have to need light. There's no reason to open it regularly or not. But, listen to the but. The ambulance driver on Shabbat is taking the patient to the hospital. We're not telling him, do anything Bashinu, drive and do anything you can as fast as you can. However, you deliver the patient. Okay, the Hatzalah is equipped with a special motor. You cannot close your car. You drove your neighbor to the hospital, was definitely mutar. There's no hotel for you to close your car. It's a baya gedola more.
So let me ask you a question, Rabbi Barak. Hypothetically, I'm not going to use you. I'll use myself as an example. Chas v'chalila, one of the kids gets sick, and it's a sakana, and the ambulance is there. You would say that only one of the two parents should go to the hospital.
Well, I would definitely say that. Yes. Now,
Rabbi, next question about turning off the car. If they could create a switch and Hatzalah before Shabbat puts it on, and if he makes a stop, it cuts off.
this is exactly what every ambulance of Hatzalah has. Exactly.
Oh, they do that. I got it. Okay.
They come there, either it doesn't close and no one can really drive the car unless they do something, or
Yeah.
exactly the.
But let's say the ambulance is now at Maimonides, and it's almost say Tzakachavim. Would you? But he's in an area where he might be used, or he might. Does the Hatzalah, when he gets to the hospital, does he finish for the day, Gamarnu?
That's a good question. This is it's interesting that you ask. We have a fellow in the Sakat that I think you never met him, Mr. Stern. He's new. His son-in-law is in New Jersey. I forgot where. They have Hatzalah, but the Hatzalah over there is connected to the non-Jewish
Ambulance.
So he says to me like this. He says to me, okay, I'll start in Brooklyn, easier. In Brooklyn, yeah, I think you have an average of approximately 80 calls with every Shabbat.
Wow.
But remember, some of them are Baruch Hashem, most of them are, they have to do what they have to do. So even, please listen carefully. I live in Borough Park, you have 2 stations, one on 16th. Even if this ambulance, Larry, stays now in Maimonides for the next 15 minutes, we have enough vehicles to, but where this fellow, the Hatzalah ambulance is one ambulance. They have EMS, but EMS is not doing it. Or by him, he says, we drive back because this is the only ambulance of Hatzalah that we have. So the answer to your question is, depends on the situation.
Right. Wow. That's a tough call.
Oh, but the trick is like this. Here's the trick. The trick is that every ambulance or every member of Hatzalah is undergoing a special course. Technically, it's being tested by the state of New York. Regardless of who you are, you have license. Now, you have to take approximately a month, twice a week, a course in the Chol Shabbat. Yes or no? Must, mutar, possible. An example. Teacher in our school, this is many, many years ago, his son was playing on Shabbat. He was struck by a car. So it was a serious injury. Hatzalah took the kid right away to Staten Island. Fine. Now, can Hatzalah come now and take one of the parents? The answer is definitely yes. The kid, when he is being taken to the hospital, needs someone to stand near him because the fear of a kid, of the unknown, might worsen the situation. This is exactly what they did. Yes? And they came to the parents. And the kid, I think they evacuated him with a helicopter. Which means being there for the woman goes to give birth, her mother is there, makes the pressure much less. To show you how far this is, Shulchan Aruch says that if she is blind, the woman in labor is blind, and she knows it's at night. And she says, I would like the light to be turned on.
You can have it.
You can have it because you make her. Remember, this is where the halakha shows you that they understand that your state of mind.
But if you were the one in the room, you were the only one in the room, and she would ask you, you would do it with a shinui, 100%, no?
100%. What she wants to know that there is a light. And I am obligated to do it for her. What difference does it make if I turn the light on or turn the candle
So
on?
let me ask you a different question. Suppose when that scenario, the woman is blind, are you allowed to say to her, you know, the light is on and you don't put the light on?
It's an interesting question. So באמת, the Shulchan Aruch says,
Because she'll never know. I mean, there's no...
the Shulchan
She
Aruch
might know. She
says,
might know. Sometimes you have an odor from the candle, by the way. You may notice. Hey, that's another story.
Aruch said, turn the light on. I always have this effect. Is it because there are few people here? And if I would not do it later, she would say, do you see? Do you see? Do you see?
Right, I understand. Okay.
It's only me. It's only me. And I'm the only one that is there to assist. And she'll never find. Remember, I'm chayav only to appease her, to make her feel good. Now, I gave you two reasons why we should not do it b'shinui. You do it b'shinui, and again, everyone understands it. In some situations you should. Everyone understands it. In many you should not. In between, Sfaradim would not do it b'shinui. Ashkenazim would. Fine. Now, what is the explanation of the machlok? Now, what I'm giving you now is a concept that applies in other places. Let's start with the concept. If the majority of Kohanim, let's say the Kohanim that are serving today are 80 Kohanim. Shem Yishmor, someone suffered a massive heart attack. This is this week's parasha. The Kohanim are waiting to make a raffle, and someone died on the spot. So from the 80, 60 became Tameh. 20 were not in the room. So the halacha is that the service of Beit HaMikdash is to continue. So Nikrat Tum'ah Hutra B'tzibur. The same way that Erev Pesach, the majority of the people are Tameh, or the majority of the Kohanim are Tameh, we can do it anyway, fine.
So what's the concept again? I heard it, but I know it, but
Tum'ah Hutra, Mutar, La'asot Avodah B'tzibur.
B'tzibur, okay.
Look at in the Gemara if it's hutra or dechuya. Everyone agrees that you have to do it. But how do I look on it? Am I looking on it as if no one is tameh? Oh, of course they are tameh, but
Well, isn't that the whole beginning of the Rambam and Hilchot Shabbat, the Hutra and the Chuya, the whole discussion?
So everyone is bringing this Rambam. In a minute I'll come back to the Rambam. Now, what is the difference? If the avodah has to go on, no matter what difference does it make if I put the label mutar or dachui? Rani, you understand the concept dachui?
Yes.
Dachui means we have to do it, but we Shabbat is Shabbat, Tumah is. The answer is, I see 25 feet away a Kohen did not become Tameh. Should I run and call him, come in? You do it. Oh, no. If it's mutar, it's as if.
Yeah.
So you could say you better to have one of the 20 than one of the 60.
Correct. Should we try to look for one of the 20? So normally you would say, if it's the Chuya, I'm looking for one of the 20 because I'm not serving the avodah betumah. I have no choice, but here I have a choice. If it's utra, it's like nothing happened. Many adapt this concept here to Shabbat. The Koach Nefesh is definitely Doche Shabbat. Human life is more important, not only Shabbat, but every mitzvah. If it's mutar, it's mutar. So why should I do b'shinui?
Right, sure.
Why should I do b'shinui? Why should I look for a goal? It's mutar, it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday. If it's dechuya, of course I have to act. Human life is more important than Shabbat or mitzvah. But Shabbat is Shabbat. So if I can save the person by doing it b'shinui, so this is what many great achronim are trying to explain. This machloket in the Rishonim. Should we use a goy if the goy is available without any delay or not? If it's mutar, mutar. If it's dachui, but it's not so much. Why? It says, you understand, this is a very logical, good explanation. And here, when Larry mentioned a second ago that the Rambam in the beginning of Perek Sheni of Hilchot Shabbat starts the chapter, Dechuya is Shabbat, Dechuya. But if our interpretation is correct, why didn't the Rambam mention that if a goy is available, you can do b'shinui, do it b'shinui? Okay, so of course we can give. The answer is he doesn't want other people to learn from it, but it's not so simple.
Rabbi Prague, one time it would be great if we could go back and learn I don't know what the concept, I know what it means, Amira la'akum shvut. Why can you?
Yeah, but this is a different.
I know, but that's why I don't want to do it today, but it's something one day we should learn it because it's important, I think.
The main reason why people don't teach it too much is there are many situations and people always take it very far. Everyone agrees that sometimes you're allowed to tell a goy, sometimes you're not. Everyone agrees that if you did tell a goy, the goy did it, me, who told the goy, be the Isur Rabbanan. Everyone. To many Ashkenazic and many Sephardic, many caterers, they take this goy very far, you understand? Normally it goes like this. Normally if I'll give you a very, very practical example. You wake up in the morning, it's a winter, it's dark in the house, somehow the light is not on. You have to tell the goy, normally, this is the language you have to say. Normally I sit and study or read the paper, but it's impossible. If the goy has over 88 IQ, he understands that what you're hinting to him is, I need a light. And he opens the light. Now, so why shouldn't I tell him directly? Open the light. The answer is, it's asur mid'Rabbanan to tell a goy to do melacha deoraita. If it comes to a real mitzvah, many say it's mutar. My learning is definitely a mitzvah. Everyone's learning is a mitzvah, but this is not the mitzvah that we are talking. We are talking about the mitzvah, for instance. You have a Brit Milah. Should we make the Brit Milah in shul and many people would come, and the goy should carry the baby from the house to the shul or not? Yes. By the non-Hasidic world, Brit Milah in Shabbat is always in the house. By many Hasidic dynasties, the goy brings the baby to the Beit HaKnesset. Now, this is another example. Your Aron Kodesh, right, is connected to an electric numbers, and you forgot to turn it before Shabbat. If you don't open it, there's no Sefer Torah. Should you? Shouldn't you? Remember, over there it has to be a direct because there are numbers involved. You have to know the combinations, you said. So everyone agrees, Larry, that the tzorch mitzvah the rabim, which means, this is what I have in mind, I guess, almost 60 years ago. An Leil Yom Kippur, I'll never forget, Al Leil Yom Kippur, in the middle of the prayers, the lights are out in the yeshiva. Everyone agrees that this is Tzorech Rabim, yes? Now, I purposely didn't use the example. If it's very hot.
I was going to ask you, if Rabbi Prague was home on Shabbat
Right.
and his air conditioning wasn't working, would Rabbi Prague said to the guy, you know, I like to learn with the air conditioning on, it's more comfortable. If
Right.
I had a guess, Rabbi Prague is not saying that to the guy.
Right. He would not, but every time I come home and she's there, she's cleaning, she turns it on her own. So she does
Oh, but I'm saying, you know, okay, you could say that with
right. But listen carefully now. In a shul, everyone agrees that you can tell directly why. Because in a community, unless everyone is around 30, 40, people in our age, if you have heart problems, it's extremely important to have air conditioning. So this is considered amira le'akum, tzorech choleh she'ein bo sakana. If, and remember, choleh doesn't mean there are sick people, but people, if you are not giving them the medicine, in this case, the medicine is the air conditioning, something might happen. So everyone agrees on that, yes? So now, so whatever you see people do, what we are learning now is, if the sakana is in front of us, we don't think, we do whatever it takes. And the Shulchan Aruch says that if doctors are saying, remember, it's an extreme example that the Gemara is using, but if the doctor is saying he needs a fresh fig, 10 people ran to different locations. All the 10 came back with a fig. Each one of them, on Shabbat, cut a fig. We need one fig. Shulchan Aruch says none of them needs teshuvah, because each one of them did what he was supposed to do. Each one of them did. I remember there are millions of questions, but the rabbis are always afraid if you teach and the message people get is too strict, might cause harm. They are so. If you make it too light, I'll give you an example. You can be the judge. We had a flat which the Rosh Yeshiva Yerucham. Yerucham is all the way down in the south.
settlement.
So he came to tell us, unfortunately, his yeshiva lost during for October 7, they lost nine boys. Can you imagine 9? He says like this: I didn't see my students for weeks and weeks. Finally, we met. So this is a question they presented him. This is good. It says, for weeks and weeks, 24/7, we stayed in the tent. Can you imagine? Weeks and weeks. We didn't taste any hot food. We ate everything from a can. I mean, you realize that from your stomach and this is terrible. It says, finally, I forgot. After 6 weeks, for the first time, they are permitted, they are in a safe area, are permitted to go out of the tent. As it happened, it was in Shabbat. One of the soldiers, obviously it's not only his students, said that one of the military rabbis said that we can cook fresh food. What was the logic? You know, everyone understands that they are soldiers and they are in a very good shape. And the fact that you did not have anything, and if you would have a good, hot, warm meal, you would be in a better shape, what would you say? Okay. So they asked the Rosh Yeshiva, what would you say? This is already a few weeks before. Of course, he was smart enough, and he says to them, it happened already, what did you do? So they told him, we decided that to honor the Shabbat, we should not cook. Now, you do understand that those rumors that this rabbi said is incorrect. Of course, it's a met sometimes. So the Rosh Yeshiva tells us as follows. The guy, Talmid of his yeshiva came to him and he says, for weeks and weeks, he didn't go home. For weeks and weeks, I was not in a normal environment. They gave me permission to go home on Shabbat. Can I go? You do understand that neither you nor me, not because we are here in New York, can answer the question is, because only if you feel what he felt. So he says to him, remember, he's a very wise guy, he says to him, in the yeshiva, we have a rabbi that specializes in these questions. Why didn't you call me? Says to him, Rabbi, I called him, told me to ask you. Okay, you get it. Okay, but you do realize that this is one of those questions that you have to know the guy very well. Please listen. So he tells us, he spoke in my class. I asked him, tell me, what did you do the last 4 weeks? So he described him. He says, I held my commander in my hands and he died in my hands. I mean, he gave him a terrible situation. And then he told him difficulties and stress that he had. But remember, he spoke to him for 10, 20 minutes. Then he says to him, I think it's mutar, but let me call remember, this is not the rabbi. The rabbi means a guy that is a military man. He understands the stress. He calls him up and he says to him, the Rosh Yeshiva says to him, why were you hesitating to allow him? This is what he told me. He says, if this is what he told me, he told you, of course, the answer is yes. Now, if you teach it to our people, you are crazy. What is that? He's going home to see his kids. He's going home to eat a good meal. The answer is, if we are going to learn in a minute, it's very often the mood of the patient is part of the healing, part of the refuah. Combat soldier, but a real combat soldier, yes. If he's in a semi-depressed mood, cannot operate. It's a very fine line that only people on the premises can tell you. You understand? It's like I told you, a doctor in my shul says to me that he came to visit Rav Feinstein the last Arab Yom Kippur, and he told me, Dr. Glantzman, my doctors say that I have to eat on Yom Kippur. And of course, I have to eat. But you understand what it means to eat on Yom Kippur. Can you please? And he examines him and he says to me, this is interesting, he says to me, he called him the Rosh Yeshiva, I'm sorry to tell you that you have to. He says, don't be sorry. If I have to, I'm in it. You understand? Why did he ask Dr. Glantzman after he got the opinion? The answer is the doctors did it as experts, as computers. There was no heart. There was no heart in the decision because this is the job of a doctor. Dr. Glantzman is a religious guy. And he understands what Yom Kippur means to everyone, especially a fellow like Rabbi Feinstein. He says, don't be sorry. Which means that very often the fact that the rabbi knows the patient can help the rabbi make a decision, yes or no. Yes or no. Some people, now, if it's absolutely necessary, regardless how the patient feels, makes a difference. Makes a difference. You have to eat. sometimes, in this particular case, I told you that then the doctor told me, Rabbi, I can come later in the afternoon to hook you to intravenous. This way you get the fluid, you get the food, you get the minerals. He says, no, if I have to eat. I told you of Soloveitchik, demanded to be hooked to intravenous. The difference is, Feinstein is every move that he made, everyone knew about it. He didn't want anyone to hear, Rabbi Feinstein didn't want to eat the drink. If it's mutar to eat, mutar to eat. There is a very fascinating tshuva on the concept by one of the Gedolei Sephardic Achronim. Listen to it. It's an interesting case. A fellow was told by the doctors that, I remember this like 200 years ago, he has to drink milk from a pig, or I forgot, or a donkey, whatever. The father says to the son, absolutely not, no matter what. Says, Abba, you need to do this, that. No. The kid, this, comes back after 2 hours, of course with pig's milk. And he says to him, Daddy, I found you the same type of milk. This is goat's milk. And the father was a wise man. He says to him, only if you make
drink it first.
And you drink it, then I'll follow you. The question is the son permitted to make the bracha? זו שאלה יפה, אתה מבין? אתה מבין, אבל זו שאלה יפה מאוד, למה? אבא צריך לשתות, כן? Making the bracha, here is the bracha לבטל.
You know what it reminds me, Rabbi Prague? Anochi Esav B'chorecha.
But it's a בדיוק אותו דבר, אתה מבין? And the answer is, if it's only a bracha, then the son is permitted to do it. Yes? You mean? לפי רוב הראשונים, this type of bracha doesn't count as a bracha לבטלה, yes? So what do? You do a Isur D'Rabbanan to help the chole, you do it. There is a famous, they met one of the great poskim in Yerushalayim. His name was Rabbi Waldenberg, but not the famous Tzitz Eliezer. He was הוא היה רב אמיתי means he really knew the people. Anyway, there was an old lady, I told it to you once, there was an old lady that was partially blind, and she was told that she has to eat and drink on Yom Kippur, and she says, Yiddish, ich bin 92, I'm 92 years and I didn't eat, I'm not going to eat this year. And the rabbi came to her house, this is an old lady, ich esse nicht, finished. The rabbi told the family not to tell her what the time is. Not to tell her what the time is.
They changed the time.
That she couldn't look at the clock anyway. Anyway, Shabbat, Yom Kippur morning at 10 or 11, the rabbi himself comes, says, she was blessing her. Look, you fasted all day. This was early in the morning. Says, I'm here to make Havdalah for you. You hear this?
Wow.
Made Havdalah on the course for her. Havdalah on the course. Says, now that you heard Havdalah, please have a cup of milk and a piece of cake. And she was happy. And they were. But this is the chokhmah of Rav Amiti. This Havdalah for him was exactly as the shakol of the pig's milk, as if it's a goat's milk. It takes a lot of wisdom. I'll tell you why this is important. Larry, if you have the Shulchan Aruch open, Shin Chavchet 328, Seif Yud Dalet.
Wow.
Listen to a fascinating case. חולה שיש בו סכנה, צריך בשר. The doctor says it has to have meat now. My choice is to go on Shabbat and buy non-kosher meat. Or we can slaughter a chicken or a lamb. Says the Shulchan Aruch, shochtim lo. You are permitted to slaughter on Shabbat. Ve'ein omrim na'achilenu neveila. It is. Don't give him non-kosher meat. So again, now based on the rules that we spoke up to now, this is a difficult halacha. Because the rule is, if you can minimize the Chilul Shabbat, you have to do it, correct? Here, he has to eat meat, good. Have a choice to buy non-kosher meat, which is a Isur min Torah on a smaller level. If we slaughter on Shabbat, yes, this is a much bigger Avirah, it's Chilul Shabbat. Shulchan Aruch says, slaughter and don't give him non-kosher. Look at the Mishnah Berurah, Larry, Lametet.
Shochtim.
Shochtim lo, הרבה טעמים נאמרו על זה. This question is written by the Ran, and the Ran says, שאלו את הרייבד. So listen to three reasons why we should slaughter. יש אומרים, משום דשבת הותרה אצל בכוח נפש. You remember before we spoke about it. If Shabbat is like a Sunday, and a Sunday I would slaughter, ולכך שוחטים לו, כדרך ששוחטים ביום טוב. ואפילו איסור דרבנן, אין מאכילים אותו במקום שאפשר לו לשחוט. Remember we learned before the concept putra. Here, this is a perfect example.
Wow.
If Shabbat is like a Sunday, and a Sunday you will slaughter for it. אבל הרבה ראשונים כתבו that Shabbat is only the Chunya. The Rambam, the Rashba. אלא הטעם הוא, please listen carefully, שמא יהיה קץ באכילת נבלה ולא יאכל ויסתכל. If you bring him a non-kosher meat, he would say, I can't eat it. We want the patient to eat and enjoy and benefit from it. So since we are afraid, and here comes your question before Larry, so don't tell him. Reason number three. Reason number three is really very important reason. So remember, reason number one is Shabbat is like a Sunday. Reason number two is because if you feel non-kosher, you might not eat it. Reason number three now, ובבית יוסף הביא עוד טעם בשם הר"ן. Listen to this now. דבנבלה עובר על כל כזית ממנה. עביר מאיסוריו בשבת. It's fascinating. Please listen carefully.
Every bite is an avon.
Right.
Wow.
Every kazait. So he says, and he says, if the doctor said he has to eat today Shabbat 4 times, each time he has to eat 1 ounce. So 5 times he's going to do a smaller avera. If you slaughter, it's one big avera once. So this is the Ran is saying a tremendous chidush. You hear? We are better off doing one bigger avera than to repeat a small avera many times. Now this question is very important. Why? The difference between the two this explanation. If the doctor said that you had to eat only one kazait,
that would be different, sure.
This reason doesn't apply.
Right.
If the doctor said, listen carefully, that he has to have a soup, meat soup. Now, for me and you, if a non-kosher meat was cooked in a soup of vegetables, even if you take the meat out, and there's no meat there, because the taste of the meat is there, it's a soup. But many Rishonim are saying that the taste of meat, not the actual meat. Here, I cooked piece of meat in a vegetable rice, chicken soup. I took the meat out. Of course, the rice and the vegetables have taste of non-kosher. Of course, it's a soup, but the issue is not as if I ate the actual kazayit.
You don't have the substance.
It's called Larit is kozet.
So, right, case the way you made the measurement was exactly one kazayit or shech. Which one would be the choice?
Correct. Remember, this is a new concept. Ta'am keikar. Ta'am, taste is keikar. Even if you say that the taste is like the main, but it's less.
Right.
For instance, if I ate a kazayit of non-kosher meat, if it's b'mezid, I would get 39 lashes. If I ate this soup, now the meat, the vegetables and rice, I would not get 39 lashes, it's only time. So if the doctor says he needs the soup, the taste of it, right? So you cannot say, well, even having soup 5 times a day is worse than slaughtering. Slaughtering is a real act of Chilul Shabbat D'Oraita. Yes.
So if you have a situation where you had to give a person meat, but instead of the meat, you can give him the time of the meat.
Correct. You definitely give him the time of
the meat, sure.
But it depends if what the refuah is. If it's the actual meat, it's different than the taste.
Yeah, but Ronnie, you told us when you were ill, and I remember when Steve was ill, and I was with Steve in Yerushalayim for Yom Kippur, and he had to drink. I remember you told us, I think it was you,
less than a shiur,
less than a shiur all through the day, right?
And separate them, not too close, like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that's why Rabbi Prague undoubtedly said it depends if the person has to eat a kazayit or less than a kazayit. He was very careful when he made the paradigm.
And came to my shul with a bottle of Poland Spring. It was smart to show it. He came, 40 ounces. He says to me, I had a new kidney 2 weeks ago. The doctor says I must drink 40 ounces a day. Now, it doesn't make a difference if he drinks 5 times 8 ounces or he drinks 20 times 2 ounces.
Right, sure.
He came with a small shot glass and 20 times drank. However, if the doctor would say, you have to drink X amount, yes. Many, many years ago, a wife of a lady here, Sharet Zion, she was in the 8th month of her pregnancy. Very often, if a woman is fasting,
the trigger labor, it's not the trigger labor.
The early labor. So the doctor told her that she has to drink because it was a very hot Yom Kippur, whatever. She said, yeah. The idea is don't go to shul, stay in bed, so stay in air conditioning, and you drink few times, small cups, shot. But this is the reason. Again, but if the patient is here and he needs, you don't think you give him as much as you feel he needs. All the situations that we spoke now is, but remember,
look at Jeffrey. Jeffrey can give us the best examples of but Jeffrey and Ronnie can give us the best.
Well, so I'm asking, what's better, the drink it or intravenous? Because it happened to me.
Everyone agrees that intravenous. But again,
intravenous is better, right?
That, of course. Everyone, if your name is Rabbi Feinstein, everyone will write articles about you, maybe drink it. But for us, regular people, and the reason is very simple. If the idea of drinking is because your body needs fluid, what difference does it make if you get it?
Yeah, like on a fast day, I have a little medicine bottle that measures 1.5 ounces of liquid. I take a large bottle of water, I pour it in the little medicine bottle, I take a drink. I wait 10 minutes, I have another one. I have to have 40 ounces a day, every day.
Exactly.
So that's what I do on a fast day. I do the same thing. Even Yom Kippur, I have in my book part, I have a bottle with me.
Bezrat Hashem will continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. So
But anybody
you.
who's celebrating Father's Day and and needed to spend money on a card, have a happy Father's
Yeah.
Day. And
Happy
only
Father's, everybody.
America makes such a day.
for reminding me, because tonight, if my wife didn't do anything, I'll say, maybe you forgot. I'm not going to.
But it's Hutra or it's the Chuya till next year. It's the Chuya till next year, Rabbi Prague.
יש לו תשלומים גם כן.
Yeah, Bechomesh, right.
All the
What
best. All the best.
Narishkeit, they make a day only. This is the
It's-
greatest.
It's all marketing. It's all marketing. What do you do about
100%.
Xmas gifts and all this stuff? And Mother's Day is a big day, and the restaurants, and forget about it. It's all commercial.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
have a wonderful day.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Day. If you have an old father, you must do something for him. Not because you do make him happy.
Only.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Rabbi Prague. Bye, Jeffrey. Bye, Connie.